This video will discuss how Pablo Escobar spent his $30 billion. Let's get started. The king of cocaine was the son of a poor Colombian farmer who became one of the world's wealthiest men by the age of 35. Despite his humble beginnings, Pablo Escobar rose to become the leader of the Medellin cartel, which controlled 80% of the world's cocaine market. El Patron made an estimated $420 million per week, making him one of the wealthiest drug lords. While it is impossible to verify Escobar's riches due to drug money, estimations range as high as $30 billion. Pablo Escobar is still as well known now as he was in his prime as the head of the Medellin drug cartel, more than 2 decades after his murder. Countless novels, movies, and songs have helped cement his place in popular culture. We've decided to contribute by compiling a collection of facts regarding the larger-than-life Escobar's life. Number 11. He smuggled about 15 tons of cocaine into the U.S. every day. According to journalist Lone Grillo, the Medellin cartel sneaked most of its cocaine right over the Florida coast. It was a 900-mile trek from Colombia's north coast, and it was completely open. Colombians and Americans would dump loads of blow out to sea. It would be carried ashore in speedboats, or even fly it directly onto the Florida mainland and let it crash down in the countryside. Number 10. King of Cocaine. The king of cocaine factored in a $2.1 billion loss in income every month, but it didn't matter. Escobar's enormous wealth became a problem when he couldn't wash his money quickly enough, according to Roberto Escobar, the cartel's top accountant and the kingpin's brother, in his book, The Accountant's Story, Inside the Violent World of the Medellin Cartel. He resorted to stashing cash in Colombian farmland fields, abandoned warehouses, and the walls of cartel members' homes. Pablo was making so much money that we had to write off 10% of it every year because the rodents ate it in storage or it was destroyed by water or lost. Given how much money he was apparently making, that would be around $2.1 billion. Escobar had more money than he knew what to do with, so losing money to rodents and mold on the spur of the moment wasn't a concern. Number 9. Rubber bands. While concealing or burning the vast sums of money was one challenge, the brothers also dealt with a more fundamental issue: neatly organizing the banknotes. According to Roberto Escobar, the Medellin cartel spent an estimated $2,500 per month on rubber bands to keep piles of money together. Number 8. Rise to power. Escobar began his criminal career as a teenager, the son of a farmer and a school teacher. According to some claims, his first illicit enterprise was selling bogus diplomas. He fabricates report cards, smuggles stereo equipment, and steals tombstones to market. Escobar was also a car thief, and it was for this crime that he was arrested for the first time in 1974. He became a well-known drug smuggler soon after. By the mid-1970s, he had helped form the crime syndicate that would eventually become the Medellin cartel. Number 7. Mucho dinero. The Medellin cartel controlled the cocaine trade at its peak, earning an estimated $420 million per week and making its boss one of the world's wealthiest people. Escobar, who is worth $25 billion, had enough cash to spend, and he did. Private planes, opulent houses, and extravagant events were part of his wealthy lifestyle. He reportedly promised to pay off his country's $10 billion debt to be free from any extradition treaties in the late 1980s. In addition, Escobar is said to have burned $2 million to keep his daughter warm when his family was on the run in 1992 and 1993. Escobar was unable to spend the entire sum despite his best efforts, and much of it was stashed in warehouses and fields. According to his brother, around 10%, or $2.1 billion, was eaten by rats or destroyed by the elements each year. It was simply lost in certain circumstances. Number 6. Hacienda Napoli. Escobar owned various wealthy houses, but his most famous was the 7,000-acre Hacienda Napoli, named after Naples, Italy, located halfway between Bogota and Medellin. It included a soccer field, dinosaur statues, artificial lakes, a bullfighting arena, the charred ruins of a classic car collection destroyed by a rival cartel, an airstrip, a tennis court, and even a zoo. It was said to have cost $63 million. More on that later. Locals stole the estate, which is now a primary tourist site, and the front gate is topped by the plane he used on his first heroin run to the United States. Number 5. King of the Jungle. Escobar had 200 animals in his private zoo, including elephants, ostriches, zebras, camels, and giraffes. Many animals were brought into the country illegally by Escobar's cocaine flights. The majority of the creatures were sent to zoos after his death in 1993. 4 hippopotamuses, however, were left behind. They quickly grew in number, with upwards of 40 living in the region by 2016. The potentially dangerous creatures have wreaked havoc on crops and frightened residents. To manage the populations, authorities began castrating the male hippos. Number 4. Robin Hood. Perhaps in an attempt to gain the favor of ordinary Colombians, Escobar became recognized for his charitable acts, earning him the moniker Robin Hood. He constructed hospitals, stadiums, and low-income housing. He even supported local soccer clubs as a sponsor. In 1982, he was voted to an alternate seat in Colombia's Congress, demonstrating his popularity among Colombians. Unfortunately, after a campaign to uncover his illicit actions, he was forced to resign 2 years later. The attempts were directed by the justice minister, who was killed. Number 3. Plata o Plomo. Escobar's problem-solving strategy was plata o plomo, which translates to silver, bribes, or lead bullets. While he favored the former, he had no reservations about pursuing the latter, establishing a reputation for brutality. He has slain around 4,000 individuals, many of whom were police officers and government officials. The cartel was accused of planting a bomb on a plane carrying a suspected informant in 1989. A total of 100 persons were killed. Number 2. La Catedral. In 1991, Escobar was imprisoned in La Catedral, his self-designed prison. Escobar was able to choose who was detained with him and who worked in prison under his deal with the Colombian government. He could also keep running his cartel while receiving visitors. La Catedral had a soccer field, a grilling area, and patios, and it was next to another complex he had built for his family. Colombian officials were also not permitted to come within 3 miles of his incarceration. In 1991, Escobar offered to hand himself over to the police in exchange for the ability to construct his own prison. Colombian officials concurred, unexpectedly or not. As a result, the opulent La Catedral was born. There was a nightclub, a sauna, a waterfall, and a soccer field. Still, there were also telephones, computers, and fax machines. Officials chose to relocate Escobar to a less accommodating prison after he tortured and killed 2 cartel members in La Catedral. Escobar, however, escaped in July 1992 before he could be moved. That brings us to number 1. The King is Muerto. Following his escape, the Colombian government launched a massive manhunt, supported by U.S. officials and rival drug traffickers, according to reports. Escobar celebrated his 44th birthday on December 2, 1993, with a cake, wine, and marijuana. His refuge in Medellin was uncovered the next day. Escobar and a bodyguard managed to get to the roof when Colombian forces raided the building. Escobar was fatally shot after a chase and gunfire. However, others have speculated that Escobar committed suicide. If apprehended, the drug boss, who faces extradition to the United States, had previously stated that he would rather have a burial in Colombia than a jail cell in the United States. That's it for today's video. What are your thoughts on this video? Please let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and hit the subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.